Writing. Let's talk a little bit today about writing. To begin with, I'm interested in what you think the difference between writing to learn is and learning to write. So, let's snowball. This is an activity that can be quite motivating to students, so let's give it a try. You need to take out a scrap piece of paper and put your name on it. And then I'm going to have you define what you think writing to learn means and what learning to write means. Maybe just in a sentence or two. Pretend that you were telling a parent what the difference was and simply define. Nothing else but defining. Next, I want you to crumple up what you've just written, and it's going to snow. So go ahead and throw your crumpled up piece of paper, your snowball, and catch a different snowball from someone else. Once you get your colleague's snowball, I want you to read it and then tell me if you see anything that should be changed or clarified, and please do that on their paper. So go ahead and add to their definition. Make some changes if it need be or clarify. And when you're clarifying, if you can't find anything else, I want everybody at the bare minimum to add an example to each. Once you're done with that, you're going to exchange your snowball back so that you have your own. Now, read yours. Hopefully, it helped clarify for you. So, now just to clarify for everybody to make sure we're on the right page, learning to write, well, that's easy. That's something that happens all of the time. It happens from birth all the way until we're probably stopping with literacy. You can see there's some elderly, nice ladies there. One happens to be my mom on the left, and she still writes. So what kind of examples might we see when we're talking about learning to write? Well, that's easy. Putting periods at the end of sentences, dears rather than dear, right? Which one's right and wrong? Learning how to write sentences or paragraphs, how we argue or how we persuade people in writing, or simply writing a thesis, even in a master's program. The other part of the learning to write is the writing process. How many people remember the writing process? Do you remember some of the steps? What are they? Well, the common steps in the writing process are pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. Did you know that the most important step in the writing process is actually that pre-write stop process? That's where we get all of our thoughts together, whether it's in a brainstorm or a web or whatever it might be. What's the difference between the revising and the editing process? Does anyone have an idea? Well, revising is when we move the meat of the matter. We add, we change, we delete, we help clarify. That's the revising part. The editing part, that's what most people talk about when we're talking about the writing process. That's the conventions. That's the grammar, the spelling, the usage. You want to make sure that you do the revising before you do the editing. All right? Then, what is writing to learn? Well, that's when we're actually a part of writing. And it's not a process, but instead we are involving ourselves in recalling and clarifying and questioning. And through the actual writing, we are learning more. I'm sure that in your own personal life, as you've had to write something, that you start to learn more as you write, as you delve deeper and you're thinking about a topic. So now we might ask ourselves, why should writing be incorporated in every classroom, every content area? Well, there's a couple of reasons. To begin with, every student is engaged. If we ask a question of a class, only one or two people might answer, right? As opposed to that snowball activity that you just did. Everybody was thinking and engaged. In this one also, whenever people are writing, it helps expand and build upon their knowledge. So therefore, it also helps solidify comprehension. Students learn more when they write. And finally, it reveals student thinking and learning to us. Well, so therefore it also tells us the gaps in their thinking and learning. And so it helps guide future teaching. It's a great formative assessment for us. So Make sure that you are using writing in every classroom.